Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Monday, May 27th. It's Memorial Day. Now, if you just think of this as a day off, a day the markets close, let me be clear that Memorial Day is a day of remembrance for anyone who has died in service to our country. So before you just chow down at your barbecue, why don't you have a moment and thank your lucky stars that you live in a place where other people are doing the hard work for you. And if you are one of those people who's given of themselves, or you have a family that's been touched by a death during military service, our hearts go out to you. And we are so grateful for everything that people have given so that we all can be where we are today. Sorry to start heavy, but man, I always get nervous that people do forget about that. With that said, though, it is time to get to our third part of a three-part interview with Adam Levin, who's a cybersecurity expert. He's also the co-host of the What the Hack podcast, award-winning What the Hack podcast. And today we are going to be talking to Adam about best digital practices for your aging parents, for your kids, and phone security with your car. Here is part 3 of our interview with Adam Levin. Let's go through. So we're going to have our best practices. What are the conversations that we should be having with ourselves, our kids, and our parents? So I'm going to start with my mother, who is in her 80s and perfectly like understands like, oh, okay, I should, but she cannot help herself. I say, don't answer the phone. But she does have, I noticed lately, she'll say to me like, I got this thing from the IRS. And I said, really? It's from the IRS? Like not a text, but even a letter. It's like the IRS seal, but then it's like, we can help you make more money from the IRS, right?
Yes.
So there's like those approaches. So what are the things that like, I really want to make sure that we tell people, like, what should they be telling their aging parents?
What they should be telling their parents are, first of all, don't do anything that involves any money without having a conversation with me.
Good.
Not because I want to control your life. It's because I want to make sure that nobody is taking advantage of you. And these days, everybody is a target for people who want to take advantage of them. And it starts, in many cases, innocently enough, and you buy into it.
Yeah.
So whenever you get and this is really important, whenever anyone contacts you and either threatens you, scares you, or tries to have you do something based on greed and have it be almost a spontaneous response, stop. Whether
good.
it's somebody communicates with you and says, I've been in an accident, and they're your child or your grandchild, and I'm in jail. I need your help. I need you to send money as fast as you can. And here's the way you can do it by way of gift card. It's like, what?
Yeah.
And stop. It's all about pause, take a breath, think about it, then communicate with that member of your family, for instance, by way of text or email, or even call them if you can on another line, and just say, did you just call me? Did you just send me something? Did you just
right? Because there's this whole scam, which is like parents or grandparents being approached. Like this happened to my sister's friends, parents, where it's like, so-and-so is like your daughter, blah, 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 your granddaughter. I got pulled over and they took me to jail and I need, $3,000 to get my car out of the pound. I mean, I learned of this after the fact, but like I'm in Philadelphia, the grandmother was in New York, grandmother calls the adult son, go down, Kimmy's in jail, blah, 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 blah. And it was a total scam. And so these are like, what happens is, what do? They have some compromised information of the younger generation, and they're able to then text the grandparent. Like who's the source of the information in that case?
Well, sometimes what they'll do is you'll get a phone call and it'll be not a great connection. And you'll hear someone and they'll say, grandmom. And most grandparents, if they get that kind of a call, they think they're talking to a grandchild and they blurt out their name. And they go like, oh, well, Jill, are you okay? And that's how they get you to, it's social engineering. That's how they get you to fall for it. Whether it's by phone, by text, by email, they'll panic you. Like, remember the emails that I'm traveling in Europe I lost my backpack. My phone
Yeah.
was in my
Yes.
backpack.
Yes.
Please send me money. Here's, and people would fall for that. Excuse me. People would become victimized by that. So again, it's all about heartstrings, fear, panic, spontaneous response, and they try to do it when they think you're distracted.
Yeah. Right. And also, I mean, look, I do think that there is a sense that when you say something to an adult parent, what I also say is, Mom, I know I fall for this all the time. Like you need to like give them permission and say like, you know, don't do this because I know I could do this. Like, it's not about even your age. It's everybody. Now, with the kids, you've always said kids share too much information anyway. What should we say to our college students, our high school students, our junior high school students? Like, what are we telling them to do about this stuff?
Well, number one, if someone contacts you about a job, that should set alarm bells right then and there. If you go to job websites and they ask you to provide any personal information in advance of having any interview, don't do it until you're convinced you want the job and you have checked out the information and confirmed that it's real. And you can go to certain websites and see, is this company actually trying to hire people? And then if you do anything and you're sent like a check, that's another one they love to do.
Exactly.
They'll send you a check and they'll say, look, this is an advance on your salary and the fact that we need you to buy some products for it or buy stuff that will help you do your job.
Right.
And then you deposit the check. You go out and buy the stuff and you send it to them or whatever, they ask you to do. And then all of a sudden you find out that the check bounced. And now you're out of luck. So
it's like everywhere. Yeah. It's so daunting, Adam. I love that we're protecting ourselves. I love that we're talking about it. I think the more we can talk about it, the better. But I feel like this is just so daunting. And I want you to make me feel better. So make me feel better.
I would like you to feel better. And I think that cybersecurity needs to be taught from the bottom up as opposed to the top down. Which means we have to start with our children. We have to make them understand what passwords are, what two-factor authentication is, the fact that they need to feel comfortable. And this is the key word, comfortable coming to us. Just like you want your employees, if they click on the wrong link, to immediately come to you, you have to create an environment of privacy and security where everybody feels they have a piece of the ownership to protect, whether it's the family, the company, and in some cases, they're coming after you to get information from you not because of you, but because you're the tributary to a larger river. Yeah. Which means it could be your parents, your grandparents, your parents because of the company they work for. And it's one of those butterfly effects where if you protect yourself, you're protecting your family. If your family's protected, no one is going to do something where their information is being compromised, which then can be used to impact their company. And if their company is part of the supply chain, it could actually end up being a national security issue.
Oh my gosh.
So that's why it's like it's like
you start, but like it's so true. Like you start with yourself, you start with your family. You like, these are best practices. We teach our kids how to drive, which is always scary also. We teach all of these. I think this is more important than the quote unquote financial literacy. Like this should be the nuts and bolts of like how you are an adult in this, an adult, how you are a member of this society. You have to, but like you have to be taught because otherwise you don't know. You don't know.
It's the big talk. It's just like you talk to your kids about sex. You talk to your kids about finances. You talk to your kids about how they would interact with other people so that they're polite. But you also have to say, we need to protect our family. And the way we protect our family is you have responsibility too, which will make a lot of kids, proud and feel empowered and say, we have to do this together because the only way we're going to fight this thing is together.
Right.
And when any one of us gets hurt, it's possible that all of us can get hurt. It's also another thing that we have to be careful about what we put in our phones. Just like, people didn't realize. And the folks at Mozilla did a thing called Privacy Not Included. We had Jen Caltrider on our show who created it. Every time you plug your phone into your car, it is sucking out your data.
Really?
And,
Wait a minute. Explain that.
What you don't realize, if you were to ever read the privacy policy of motor vehicles, you realize that once you're plugged in, and not only that, but they have cameras, they have listening devices and microphones in the cars. Think of it when you're in trouble.
I heard about this with like the OnStar. This was like the thing where people were having like a hard time with their insurance companies because OnStar or some of these services are selling your data to insurance companies, and then it does actually can negatively impact the insurance company's analysis of your driving. Is that what we're talking about here, or is it something beyond that?
No, it's something that actually is beyond that. Because, once you plug it in, it has access now to your device. Because remember, your device is not locked. It's on and it's active and it's using it. So it will know, for instance, phone calls you made. It may, and you know how people communicate by way of, hi Siri, can you give me directions to where I'm going, or call so-and-so, or Siri reads you the text and then you make a response. Well, your car is sucking this up.
I feel like I'm so like I want to tell you something. My stomach hurts right now because like everything you say, like I'm like, wait, maybe that's good because I have like a 10-year-old car and it's not such great technology. But
You're right.
I might die in a car crash because I have bad airbags. But it's everywhere you turn. Everywhere. It's like this is why it feels so daunting to me.
The truth is that a lot of this stuff is common sense. You just have to stop and think and say, what am I getting out of this? As opposed to what is someone else getting out of this? And also, one of my favorite things is lie like a superhero, which is when you do security questions and answers, think of Superman and Batman. They don't tell people that they're Clark Kent or Bruce Wayne. They use another name. You don't need to tell them your mother's real maiden name. You don't need to give them the real name. You just
need to give like an actual. I mean, the reason is that we do that is that it's easier to remember, right? But you're right. But again, I'm going back into. I paid $60-something for my one password, so now I got to just use it. Oh my God!
All the time, and also multi-factor authentication, very important.
Okay, that's it. That is the program. We thank you so much for listening. Don't forget, all of our content lives at JillOnMoney.com, our website. Just bookmark it. Everything is there. You can subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcast. And as we always like to remind you, today, every day, lift someone up. Somebody wants a little boost, and you can give that person some help today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.